Right, leadership is defined by taking responsibility no matter how hard. Such has been demonstrated by President Bola Tinubu after he directed the immediate settlement of 342 million naira outstanding electricity bill to the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. Other ministries, departments and agencies have been urged to pay their electricity bills, such as the defense staff, barracks and military formations owing about 12 billion naira, and ministries of the FCT, finance, petroleum, health, information, education, agriculture, and more. BK, when this news first broke about some days ago, and I saw it in the tabloid, it took many by surprise, especially the bloggers. When they took it up, it was like, how could this happen? A whole presidential villa. Some would even say it's possible, please disconnect so they can enjoy or experience the heat that Nigerians are experiencing. But what do you make of this coming from the presidential villa and government agencies owing power supply companies to that amount of money?
Well, I tell people that we have to interrogate how we got here. Nigerians are very emotional about nearly everything. Whether it's religion or ethnicity or leadership, we get too emotional. We do not ask the pertinent questions. We do not do a tie back to ask ourselves what went wrong down the line. People are shocked that the naira is taking a hit and all that. But in this same country, there was a time when our currency was stronger than the dollar. In this same country, I took a flight for the first time. That was in 1985, from Ilorin to Kaduna, and I paid 56 naira for a flight.
I paid 11 naira, 1980.
And you tell people, it will seem that you are exaggerating.
Nigeria Airways, as a child.
Yes, Nigeria Airways.
As a child.
The DC-10, at that time, the aircraft. I still remember.
11 naira.
And I was clutching my Marlboro bag. That Marlboro bag was given to me by a sister who worked briefly at the Marlboro office in Ilorin. Go to Ilorin and see whether you can find Marlboro.
No, it's gone.
They are gone. All of the big companies that we had in Lagos, the big textile farms, churches have taken over their premises. We are now preaching prosperity, in those, we've turned those warehouses to church auditoriums where we preach prosperity. And when we like, we deceive the people. And we call that Christianity. Where we sometimes preach about how we can segregate our people. We call it Christianity. These debts were not accumulated between the time Bola Tinubu became president.
Okay.
Those debts had been there for years. Look at the military, the police. You can't walk into them and say you want to disconnect them. They will beat the hell out of you. That's the kind of country that we are. So why won't debts pile up? Defense barracks, military formations, and owing about 12 billion. They don't pay. They would rather intimidate people. Because the military see themselves as of a higher grade than ordinary civilians. People who cannot beat you up in a hand-to-hand combat because they are wearing uniform, they imagine that they are one Greek god. They didn't pay. It is testament to bad leadership over a long period that ministries, departments, and parastatals will not pay their electricity bills. Because they feel that they won't have the guts to come and disconnect us. Why shouldn't they disconnect you? Now this president has done the right thing. The same way that the money they were owing the Super Eagles, he made sure that he paid. Because leadership is
leading by example.
Yes.
Right.
Once he got information, he said, go and pay. Go and pay. He's not going to leave Aso Rock for the next occupants to inherit this indebtedness. It makes no sense. So because it is Aso Rock, they should not pay their bills, and you accuse the electricity companies of not delivering. You are owing them tons of money. These are the issues. If you know what the discourse are being owed, some of the Nigerians who sit on social media to abuse leaders, they should enjoy the heat. Some of them are energy thieves. Some of them are energy thieves who bypass the meter to steal energy. This is our country. Things must change. There are so many things that are wrong with our country. We have to not just ensure that this kind of bill gets paid, we must ensure that it doesn't happen again.
Right. That
ministries, department agencies, they pay their electricity bill, their water bills and all that, and when due.
Right. Mecca, what do you think, from the perspective that BK has pointed, how do you think the government can prevent this from happening again?
Well, I think what needs to happen is that we have to now face reality. You know, the times when we had so much money, the Gowon era when we had plenty money and we didn't know what to do with it, it's gone. It's gone. That era is gone. So we need to begin to look for alternatives, you know, to how we spend money. And the presidential villa, of course, will be expected to be on an MD line, you know, dedicated line where you can't take power. You know, there are lines like that, factories and certain places, you know. So I'm even surprised it's just 342 million. You know, I'm surprised with all the offices, the ACs and all that. It will be higher. But, well, what it shows is that maybe somehow, along the line, maybe there has been some settlement. Because that's a place where power is on 24/7, all the phases complete. Nothing, you know, but what I would just like, my takeaway from this is that I was in a bank branch some days ago, and I learned that, you know, it got to a point when the headquarters of the branch was asking the branch manager, your bills for electricity, the amount, you know, what do we do? This, because the cost of diesel, the cost of, you know, what do we do? So I think he sat down with some people and they advised him to go for solar, renewable energy.
Right.
So that bank branch now got 48 batteries and then solar panels. So now weekends, the ATMs run on solar. You know, now they use these solar-powered ACs. So when you enter into the bank, into that branch, the ACs are not like, you know, the traditional ACs that you feel it. You can feel it, you know, it's cool, it's chilling, but it's not heavy. Now, that it's a one-time investment. But since then, the bill for electricity has gone down. In fact, I learned that there are times, even when there is power supply, but the bank branch depends on solar because it has sorted out the power thing so that the bills will come down. So I think government needs to begin to look at such things. You know, charity should begin at home. If you are encouraging Nigerians to start thinking of renewable energy, then you should begin it. You should start that with ministries, with MDAs, so that these bills, 12 billion is a lot of money. You can actually use certain. There's a World Bank initiative with the federal government on, you know, renewable energy, you know, mini grids and all these things. So government can begin to look at things like that, so that, you know, if this MDA, like the federal secretariat, for instance, if they have an embedded, you know, system of batteries, so that these things are charged, and then when people are not in the offices, you switch, you know, at certain periods, weekends and all that, you switch to renewable energy. So you reduce the cost of whether military barracks and all that. So that way we will curb waste. One of our problems in this country is waste. You just see, you know, lights on everywhere, some offices, ACs. Yeah, so we must now have a policy on curbing waste. We must have a policy on curbing waste so that all these bills, will reduce.
Right. All right. Let's quickly